Good afternoon. Thanks for coming. Thanks for covering Bowling Green football. Appreciate you guys being here. We had a great bye. Spent Monday and Wednesday of last week doing a bunch of walkthroughs, keeping our mental game up. Did a bunch of lifting on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and had two really good practices, full padded practices on Tuesday. So it was really beneficial, helped get our health back. We'll still have a few guys out for this game, but for the most part, we were able to get a little healthy after a really physical battle with Penn State. So watched Texas A&M quite a bit this summer and last week. Obviously, we've got great respect for Coach Elko. He coached here, had many great games with him at Wake Forest and Notre Dame. Tremendous football coach. I think he's done a great job. I think they're more disciplined. Obviously, they've got talent, I think, up front. They're the most powerful and big, strong group that will play this year. They're really big and physical up front on the defensive line. I think the offensive line is the same. So we're going to have our hands full. And then, obviously, dealing with the crowd noise, the good thing is that we were able to be in a really hostile environment last Saturday. So super excited to get this week started. Just like I said, we got a huge challenge in front of us. I think Texas A&M is excellent. Definitely a top 20 team, no question about it. So we need to get better. We need to keep improving, keep moving the needle of our program, and keep doing things our way and keep improving.
All right, if anyone has any questions, please just signal to Chrissy with the Strategic Communications Office, and we'll give you the mic.
Kind of looking at the MAC, these last few weeks, they've made so much noise this season. Toledo beat Mississippi State, obviously NIU beat Notre Dame. Do you feel like this is a great opportunity for you guys to, keep that ship going and try to pull off a huge upset here?
Well, just like I said, we've got our hands full. This is a very, very talented team, and there's some things where they're very, very strong at that it's kind of our weaknesses a little bit. So we've got to find different ways to get things done just because, like I said, they're big, they're powerful, super strong, athletic. It's everything that you would think of when it comes to an SEC team. Their skill is excellent. I think they can run really well. And I think both quarterbacks are problem players. I mean, I don't know which one's going to start, but I was really impressed with Reed coming in last week. Did a great job in Gainesville. And then I've watched Connor for a year now. He's a good player. So we've got our hands full. This is an excellent group, and I am proud of the MAC. I think we've got good football here. I think we've got really good coaches. I think there's some teams that can go and compete against anyone week in and week out. So, but the big thing that we got to do is we got to prepare like savages. We got to get ready. We got to deal with the crowd noise. We got to have a great Tuesday practice, a great Wednesday practice, and then a great Friday. So we just got to keep getting better.
Obviously, there are a lot of BG connections in this game. One of them is one of your former players in Cassius Howell. What's kind of the thoughts, going up against the guy that you know so well on the other sideline? Well,
I'm super happy for Cassius. We recruited Cassius. Love him and his family. Him and I are super close, and he's doing well down there. And I love to watch our guys do well, and he's doing great. So I'm proud of him.
When players transfer out, do you try to stay in touch with them, whenever you can? Obviously, you're pretty busy during the season, but do you ever, really kind of try to follow along, some of these players?
You do, and you really do your analysis of them whenever in the off season, and follow up. But you're so busy during the season, it's pretty hard to follow all the players that have come and gone, and so. I got 110 to worry about each week, and just keep moving the needle of the program, keep improving.
You guys have faced some really, really good running backs so far this season. Obviously, A&M has one of the best rushing attacks in the country. What needs to happen to really, try to slow them down, improve in the run defense game to give yourself a chance?
Yeah, just like I said, the two areas, Coach Elko's building this thing the right way, and it's all begins with the fronts. And I think the 5 guys on the defensive line are excellent. They're big, they're powerful, they're hard to move. And then I think the offensive line has really, really come a long way. And I know Steve Adazio was there last year, and Steve's a really good offensive line coach, so I know they got a great base and a great foundation of being fundamentally sound. So he's got a great base going, and anytime that your fronts are as good as they are, you've got a chance to be a good football team. And if you watch the Florida game, they dominated both fronts. They ran the football at will, and they scored a bunch of points, took care of the ball. So it's a good formula when you can stop the run the ball, and not turn it over. So they're a good team.
Scott, you were saying on Twitter Saturday night, the MAC has good players, good coaches. What does that say about, the 4-hour radius around here that you always talk about in recruiting and its ability to hang with the SEC, the power conference teams?
Well, we're all developmental programs, and that's fun. It's fun taking a guy. If you really look at the really good MAC teams, they take high school guys, they develop them, and if they stick around, you got a chance to build a good ball club. We've got good players in the Midwest. The 4-hour radius is excellent. We got really good high school coaches. We've got people that where football is important. We all love football in this part of the country, and I hope this thing doesn't get out of control, where we can still recruit kids, develop them, keep them as long as we possibly can. You're not going to keep all of them. That's part of the game now. But in the perfect world, if you stay, you develop, you got a chance to develop into a really good football player. So in hindsight, I look at development, and even whenever we were at the University of Michigan, when we went through those nine NFL quarterbacks, and from 1986, gosh, it was 1986 to 2007, all of them except Henne didn't play till their 3rd and 4th and 5th year. And I really think, if you want to be a great player, staying at your college and developing, and really working on your trade and having one person develop you, I think that's really, really beneficial. I hope this thing doesn't go from programs to just teams. Programs develop people, and that's why I like coaching in the MAC, and that's why my hat's off to the guys that do coach in this league, because you're taking guys that are raw, you're making them big, you're making them strong, you're teaching them the game, and really taking a guy that isn't a 5-star, that isn't a 4-star, and making him a really good football player. So that's fun. It's a ton of fun.
Is that part of the reason why you think, the MAC is so competitive with these power conference teams? Is the power conference guys are moving around so much, it's hard to, develop any sort of, consistency with a team, and just there's so many moving pieces, it's hard for someone to be so dominant?
I don't know. That's going to be a great study here over these next 5 years, is how many guys are coming and going. It'll be really interesting to see. You hear Kirby, who has the best team in the country, Georgia, and he talks about he has depth problems. Think about that. You have all the resources, all the ability to recruit the best players in the country, but you can't keep them all because they all want to play. And it used to be you would sit and watch a really good player in front of you, you'd develop, and then you'd walk in and you'd play really, really well. Now a lot of these guys, if they're not walking in and playing right now, they're leaving. And I just don't think that's good for development. I don't think it's good for college football. Heck, the pros don't do it. The pros aren't leaving their NFL team every year. It's not good for them. So I think guys should stay. I really do. I think it's really important that that guys stay within their program. But the money's so enticing out there, and it's a crazy world. But in the big picture, I think long-term wise, they become better players if they stay within their program.
Coach, you mentioned that you guys got in the weight room this week. How else do you prepare for a team like Texas A&M of their size on the field?
Oh, I wish we could get strong enough in a week to be as strong as these guys. That'd be some great magic potion right there. But no, we got to find ways to be different in this game, protecting, find ways to be creative in the run schemes, because they're such good and powerful guys in their gaps. They're hard to move. And then obviously we've got to be unbelievably gap sound. We've got to run to the football. We got to get extra hats at the party. And you know, the problem with them is they can equate numbers pretty quick because they have quarterbacks that can run. So they can equate numbers, and you know, when we're trying to get an extra hat in the box, all of a sudden the numbers are equal because they're running the quarterback. So we've got a huge challenge in front of us. But to answer your question, it's going to take great preparation. It's going to take totally being locked in and executing a plan flawlessly to give ourselves a chance.
It seems like so far this season, you and the players have mentioned, you know, we had a good week of practice, we had a good week of preparation. Do you feel like this program and team has really kind of turned a corner in that regard?
There's a reason that we were 7-6 last year. Last year we could go down and we could beat Georgia Tech by 10, and it really wasn't even close, to be quite honest with you. And that's not taking nothing away from Georgia Tech. We just played really, really well in that football game. And then we would turn around and play someone that we're supposed to beat and play terrible and find a way to lose. And whenever your habits are inconsistent, when you're up and down, it's hard to win, especially in today's world. It's hard to be consistent. So our concentration right now is completely the process. We're trying to block out the outside world. We're trying to be the best team and the most selfless group of guys we could possibly be. And we're trying to really make an emphasis on being great on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And when you've got a bunch of old guys that have that type of mentality, there's no guarantees. You still got to go do it. But it gives you a heck of a lot better chance than having a crummy practice on Tuesday, a great one on Wednesday, a crummy practice on Friday, a great walkthrough on Saturday. That doesn't work. That's when you're up and down and around. So it gives you a chance. That's all I can say.
Going towards speaking about injuries, obviously Terrion missed last game. Just kind of how is he doing, and any update on him for Saturday?
He's doing great. He's doing great.
Update on Saturday?
We'll see.
Is there, like these games, is there how fine of a line is it between, you know, if a star player that you have is injured, you know, playing them against big talented teams like this, or else, you know, saving them for the MAC schedule?
No, we didn't save Terrion for that was not the case, and I want to make that quite clear. There wasn't one player on the roster last week that didn't play that could have. Terrion Stewart had he was probably 60%, maybe closer towards 50. And I just know that whenever you're walking into that lion's den that we were walking into, where you have a bunch of fast, physical dudes that can tackle and fly to the ball, you can get really hurt really fast being 50%. And do I expect Terrion to play? Of course I do. He's going to play this Saturday. He's healthy. He's ready to rock and roll. So, yes, to answer your question, I was going to play the old wait till Saturday game, but no, he's going to play.
Coach, take a look back at Happy Valley at the game back last week or week and a half ago now. Kind of a tale of two halves on the offensive side. Obviously, so successful the first half. Second half, was that adjustments you think that Penn State made looking at the tape? I don't know, Connor was on the run quite a bit, and
It was a combination, I think, of both. I think we wore down a little bit in the second half. They did some things that caused us a little bit of problems. We were able to handle those problems much more efficiently in the first half, and we didn't as well in the second half. We didn't play a bad half, but we didn't play as well as we did in the first half. And it just, it comes down to 3 or 4 plays when you're playing people that are that good. And we watched the tape, and I think we improved last week, to answer your question. And that's got to be our mindset. When you're playing these big, really good football teams, obviously we're going to go try to win and compete and find a way. But you're also, these last 3 weeks is all about moving the needle of our team and getting better. And, that's what good football teams do. Some of these teams that are playing inferior opponents, their concentration right now is getting better. And there's no different with us right now. We need to improve every week and get a little bit better at our trade.
Played in front of over 100,000 fans last week. You're doing something similar to that this week with College Station. Seemed like the team, you talked about how this team is older now and certainly able to perform well in that environment. How do you replicate that in practice, and what's your outlook on going in front of another 100,000
Well, you got a huge headache each day. You're blasting the music. You got golf carts with speakers running around. You got the music playing in the stadium as loud as it can play. And thank goodness this isn't a residential area, because I've been at places where it has been a residential area, and they're not happy at 7 o'clock in the morning when they're hearing Tupac and all this other stuff. So, but no, you got to practice it, and it's loud. I mean, this field that we're walking into is impressive. Very similar to Penn State. Awesome environment. They love their football. Great tradition. Come on, this is Texas A&M. It's great.
So, Coach, Texas A&M last week against Florida possessed the ball for, I think, almost 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Something you guys did really well against Penn State in the first half. How big of a battle, how important is that battle of time possession going to be?
Well, I think Texas A&M did a little bit different than what we did. They totally dominated up front, totally ran the ball pretty much at will. I mean, they couldn't get stopped. They ran the ball really, really, really well. We had to be a little bit of both, and we had to be great on third down. And we were great on third down, so we were able to stay on the field. In this game, to give our defense a shot, we're going to have to stay on the field again. And that's where I think Texas A&M's formula is so good. They're a great run-stopping defense. They force you to throw the football. They've got great pass rushers. They cover well, and then they get you off the field. And then as soon as they get you off the field, they won't let you back on it. And that's a great formula. So really impressed with Coach Elko, what he's done with this team in such a short time. I knew there was talent there. He'll make it better. He'll keep moving the needle and making it a super disciplined group. And, Texas A&M will be a top 10 team before we can even blink.
Corey, obviously, returning to Texas, you played tons of football there. What do you
sir.
think that's going to be like going down there and playing?
Man, that's gonna be awesome. Just going back to my home state. Get to see my family. But it's just gonna be awesome to go play at Kyle Field. The environment. The facility wise. One of the big schools in Texas. So I'm happy to do that. Play in Kyle Field.
Right. Kind of expanding on that. What is like when it comes to football at Texas A&M? Just from being pretty close there. Obviously it's huge there. With the stadium and everything. Just what is it like from just kind of your experiences and everything?
My experience, well, actually, that was my team when I was younger. So I love Texas A&M. I'm a diehard Texas A&M field, but just going down there and playing against them. Trying to do some good things.
Is it kind of going to be emotional walking in there and everything, on the
Yeah.
other sideline?
Seeing the bright lights and everything, it's going to be very emotional, I ain't really used to that, so, to play at Kyle Field, that's going to be an awesome experience.
Early in the season so far, there's been it sounds like there's been a lot of good practices, good preparation, and, in past years, it's kind of been hit or miss, between, even during a week, between a good practice and bad practice. In your time here, how have you kind of seen just the preparation? What's that kind of been like in practices and everything?
Well, from my point of view, it would have been a big culture shock. Change. So since I've been here, it's been nothing but positive and good things. Coach Leffler, we handling business every week. We getting better every week. Just moving the needle, every week. So from me being here, it's just been good so far.
Obviously you got an interception against Penn State, the big play there in the end zone. Just kind of how special is that for you getting first pick here at BG?
That was very special to me because I was telling myself, like, before coming into the game, I'm like, man, I got to grab me one. Drew Allar, third interception of his career. I'm like, I got to grab me one. It's going to be big if I grab me one. So I actually ain't see the ball. But when I seen the ball, I got nervous. It just fell into my hands. And, from there, it was just history.
The MAC has made a lot of noise so far this year. Toledo beat Mississippi State the other day. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. Obviously, you guys almost beat Penn State. Do you feel like, with the way things are going, that this is another huge opportunity this week for, you guys to, make some noise and possibly pull off an upset?
Most definitely. We ain't I ain't too worried about Texas A&M right now, but they're a very good team. We ain't looking past them at all, and I hope they ain't looking past us. But I just want to go out there and compete. They're a very good team, got some very good players. We just looking to move the needle this week.
You guys have, looking at the defense, you guys have faced some really, really good running backs so far this year. Obviously, they've had some success. A&M has a great rushing attack. Just as a whole defensively, what's maybe a big focus, just trying to slow down, a really good running team like Texas?
Yeah, man, they got some good running backs, very good running backs. So we just going to go out there and do the best things of our ability, put on the show for you guys, and just be us at the end of the day.
How does the MAC talent, the talent on this team and other MAC teams, how does that compare to the SEC talent, the power conference talent?
That's crazy you asked that question because I was just talking with my friend the other day, and I'm like, man, to be honest, the MAC is kind of looking like the SEC. It's competition everywhere. NIU just upsetting Notre Dame. Toledo just beat Mississippi State. So, I'm like, man, we got some good teams in this conference, and we ain't looking past nobody. We just going to get better day by day,
Yeah. And why do you think that is, that these teams are able to hang with, like, the power conference teams? Is it, like, the transfer portal? I mean, you're a transfer portal guy. Like,
Yes,
how
sir.
is it that, these teams are able to compete with each other?
I just think we want it. Probably we ain't at the biggest level yet, but, we still want it like them guys want it, when they play big school. But it's just all who want it at the end of the day, who want it more. So MAC school's been coming out on top because I feel like they want it more.
Malcolm, obviously, you've faced Texas A&M before, kind of similar to Penn State. What's the atmosphere like at College Station and everything like that?
I think that it's a great environment to be in. I think the more people that are there, I feel like for certain individuals you play better, and I think that's me. And it's just a beautiful place to be at. And I actually like away games, as weird as that sounds.
With so far this year in the MAC, especially these last couple weeks, Toledo beat Mississippi State, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. Kind of how impressive is just, especially those top teams in the MAC, to be able to compete and win, these games against power conference and huge opponents. Just kind of how impressive has kind of this MAC season been so far?
I think at the end of the day, it's football, and that's what I try to tell people. Like when I was in the SEC, at the end of the day, it's football. At the end of the day, so you have to put on your pads like everybody else does. And in football, you have the opportunity to win each game or lose each game, depending on how you look at it. So for me, I think that it's amazing to know that MAC schools are competing and winning versus I guess you would say larger schools. But that just shows you how how important it is for, you to actually play the game of football and that your performance matters.
As someone who's been, in the SEC and everything, what's like the biggest maybe similarities and differences between, a huge school, like in Auburn and obviously coming to VG and everything? Just, I mean, is the talent gap, a lot closer than maybe what people think and everything?
Yeah, I would say so. I tell my teammates a lot of times that, the talent gap isn't that large. I think it's just the platform, a school like Auburn will have as far as, just how much coverage they're getting. But other than the talent, it's exactly the same. Not exactly the same, but it's pretty similar. If you're a good player, you're a good player no matter where you are, and it's simple.
Malcolm, you're a transfer portal guy. Do you feel like that's part of the reason that these teams are able to compete with one another, that like MAC schools can go up against, power conference teams, is, guys are moving around a lot more? How do you kind of see it?
I would actually agree with that. I think that the transfer portal, I think as far as like players, people are starting to figure out that, just because you go to a larger school, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to perform better. You have an opportunity, whatever opportunity you have, you should take advantage of it. So if somebody that is, from Auburn to Bowling Green, no matter if you're good or not, your performance is going to tell regardless of wherever you are.
Malcolm, a quick question to follow up on that. There was some buzz when a word came out that Malcolm Johnson Jr. is going to be transferring to Bowling Green State University from Auburn University. Talk to me about why BGSU, and kind of relive your decision to come here in the first place.
I think the coaching staff played a large part in that. Coach Lefty, he believes in my abilities, and I know that he's going to make sure I'm in the right spots when I need to be, and having somebody that has that kind of belief in a player, I think that it goes a long way. And having somebody that, is going to take care of you, I think it means a lot. Especially in the transfer portal when things are a little hectic and you're not really sure if where you can go, where you can't go. It's a lot of rules and things like that. Having somebody to take care of your family, having somebody to, make sure, your skills are going to be utilized the right way, I think that's important. So that was a main concern for me.
Great game against Penn State, 8 catches,
I
81
appreciate that.
yards, a touch as well. And what's it like? How difficult has it been, or maybe not difficult, to build up some kind of relationship or chemistry with the new quarterback, with Connor?
I think when I got here in January, it was pretty easy because we had the whole summer, winter to kind of build that up, and we were just working consistently with that. So it was pretty much, I wouldn't say it was hard at all. I had a lot of time.
Malcolm, coach and some of the players have mentioned throughout the season already. We had a good week of practice. We had a good preparation. We were well prepared for this game. In past years, they've had some good practices, and the next day they've really bad practices. In your time here, what have you seen? Especially these last few weeks with the season starting, as far as just preparation for the games and everything.
I think the demand that Coach Lefty puts on us, it makes it easier for the game. I think practices are 10 times harder than a game. Like these are probably some of the hardest practices I've ever had, and that kind of makes it easier for the game time. So I think there will be some times where, okay, we didn't do this right. That's what practice is for. But I think when it needs to be cleaned up by game time, and the coaches make sure that it's cleaned up by game time, regardless of whatever the problem is.